Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. Here in Oklahoma, we had some nice, nourishing rain. I'm so thankful. Speaking of thankful, it's Thankful Thursday. What are you thankful for? Good morning, Judy. Hi, Jana. Good to see you guys. We're reading Nehemiah chapters 5 through 7. And we're reading, I've got some ladies following along that doesn't have the Bible yet, and so I got to try to remember to tell them where we're reading. 1 Corinthians chapter 8, Psalms 33, and Proverbs 21, 8 through 10. So in Nehemiah chapter 5, it starts right off in verse 14. For the entire 12 years that I was governor of Judah, from the 20th year to the 32nd year of the reign of the king, neither I nor my officials drew on our official food allowance. Here we start right off again with that theme of giving. Giving, 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 giving. He never drew on his food allowance. Even their assistants took advantage of the people, but because I feared God, I did not act that way. Because I feared God, I did not act that way. I also devoted myself to working on the wall and refused to acquire any land. He devoted himself to the work. We talked a lot yesterday about what has God got you doing? What is your work? If we don't work, we don't eat. What is your role? What are we supposed to do today? He devoted himself to the work, and he refused to acquire any land. And I required all my servants to spend time working on the wall. I asked for nothing, even though I regularly fed. Once again, here he is giving. What did it cost him to feed 150 Jewish officials at his table, besides all the visitors from other lands? The provisions I paid for each day included 1 ox, 6 choice sheep or goats, and a large number of poultry. Now I want to point out to you, when we started reading Nehemiah, he left the kingdom where he was a high official and left on a donkey. He didn't take this wealth with him. He acquired this wealth after he came and worked to build the wall. And the reason I point that out is when we do the work that God has us to do, he provides. He will bless us. I mean, this man was blessed enough. He didn't have to take his own food allowance. He gave it back. You hear the word gave? He gave it back. He didn't acquire land. And he regularly fed 150 Jewish people and all of the visitors. I just keep emphasizing this probably because God just keeps showing me that I can give more. I can give more. Tom and I give a lot, but I haven't given to that point. I haven't given to that level. Can't outgive God. And I'm not telling you to haul off and just start giving things away or giving your money away. I'm telling you to keep praying. As we are reading, he keeps talking to us about giving. About giving. If you don't have a giving spirit, ask God to give you a giving spirit. Giving. Verse 18, yet I refused to claim the governor's food allowance because the people already carried a heavy burden. He didn't want to be a burden to somebody. We've developed a mindset of entitlement that you owe me this. I'm entitled to this. instead of the mindset of, no, God's my source, therefore I won't be a burden to anybody. Remember, oh my God, all that I have done for these people, and bless me for it. He knew where his blessings came from. He knew where his help came from. We're going to skip over to verse 10, chapter 6, verse 10 of Nehemiah. Later on, he went to visit Shemaiah, son of Delilah and grandson of Mehetabel, who was confined to his home. And he said, let us meet together inside the temple of God and bolt the doors shut. Your enemies are going to kill you tonight. So, as we read in chapter 6, the diversion started. In chapter 6, they were constantly trying to pull Nehemiah away from the work that God has him doing. Sending message after message to say, come here, come and see us here, come. And then the diversion and the distraction turned to threats. You know, we have diversions and distractions in our life that then turn to threats when we allow it. The distraction is, oh, you know, instead of doing the work, I need to go do this. Oh, instead of, I need to do this. Instead of, and then the next thing you know, because you've ignored the work, then it becomes a desperate situation. Then it becomes desperate. We've got to stay focused on what it is that God has for us right now, today. Today, what are you supposed to take care of? What are you supposed to take care of? Let us meet together inside the temple of God and bolt the doors. Your enemies are coming to kill you tonight. And I love Nehemiah's answer. Don't open your churches. Don't go outside your house. Don't start school. Don't keep the government running. Don't keep the businesses running. Let's shut everything down because they might kill you. Because it might kill you. But I replied, should someone in my position run from danger? Have we been running from danger? The temptation's there. You may look at me and say, nope, haven't ran from danger, but I'm telling you the temptation's there. If you live in this world in 2020, that temptation was there. Because I am telling you, they have done nothing for the last 8 months in America except tell us that we're going to die. They have spoke death over us so many times. Should someone in my position run from danger? Oh, those are shouting words for me. Chapter 7, verse 2. I gave the responsibility of governing Jerusalem to my brother. Now, I want you to hear what the criteria was to become the leader of Jerusalem. I gave the responsibility of governing Jerusalem to my brother, the commander of the fortress, for he was a faithful man who feared God more than most. What's your reputation? I wonder what my reputation is. I hope my reputation is, that's the happy lady that loved God and loved everybody else. I hope that's my reputation. I'm working on it. I'm allowing God to work on me. I want to be so full of love it bubbles over onto everybody. So my God gave me the idea in verse 5. So God gave me the idea to call together all the nobles. The reason I highlighted that, so my God gave me the idea. See, I don't want any ideas of my own. I want all my ideas to be God-inspired ideas. And then they go about listing all of the exiles, all of the people who had been exiled to Babylon. They listed all of them coming back home. And then once again, we read this earlier in the year as they named off the exiles that came back. But in chapters, I guess we're still in chapter 6, verse 61. However, they could not prove that they or their families were descendants of Israel. They could not prove. That's such a sad thing. I can't even imagine back then when they went to the lengths that they took to write down every tribe, every descendant. They wrote down who was exiled, and now they're writing down those that came back to be in that group that couldn't prove that they were from Israel. And then I thought about today, you know, what is the Ancestry.com is such a rage. You know, I actually thought about, what if I had to sit down and write out my family tree? Without the help of Ancestry.com, by the way. I don't know, how did we get so far away from writing everything down to, I literally have very little. Tom's family has done a good job with the family tree. I've got a sister, Patty, who has done a lot of work on our family tree. I don't know, it was just a thought. I'm just sharing a thought. Let's get to the Corinthians. 1 Corinthians chapter 8. This is so good. These are words to live by. And once again, we can read them literally because I believe they were written literally. The church of Corinth was struggling in these areas, but I think we can take it and apply it to our lives right now today. Remember, this is God's love letter to us. So he wrote it down for us today so that we know how to live our life today in a way that is pleasing to him. Now, regarding the Corinthians, question about food that has been offered to idols, I love the way he answers them. Yes, we know that we all have knowledge, and he quotes that, puts that in quotes. We all have knowledge. I can hear the sarcasm about this issue. But while knowledge makes us feel important, see, even reading through the Bible every year for 18 or 19 years, you gotta really be careful that knowledge doesn't puff you up to be something that you really aren't. What value is a Bible scholar if they don't know how to live a pleasing life to the Lord? But while knowledge makes us feel important, it is love that strengthens the church. I love that. I love that. Anyone who claims to know all the answers doesn't really know very much. Again, he didn't pull any punches. But the person who loves God is the one whom God recognizes. So what about eating meat that's been offered to idols? Well, we all know that an idol is not really a god and that there's only one God. There may be so-called gods both in heaven and on earth, and some people actually worship many gods and many lords. But for us, there is one God, the Father, by whom all things were created. All things were created by God, and for whom we live. And there is one Lord, Jesus Christ, through whom all things were created. Through whom all things were created. That is so powerful. And through whom we live. However, not all believers know this. Some are accustomed to thinking of idols as being real. So when they eat the food that's been offered to idols, they think of it as the worship of real gods. And their weak consciences are violated. It's true that we can't win God's approval by what we eat, or what we drink, or what we smoke, or where we worship, or how we say a prayer, or how we baptize, or how we don't baptize, or the list goes on and on and on. We don't lose anything if we don't eat it, and we don't gain anything if we do. We get so caught up into our religious traditions, and then we step into judgment because they don't do it the way we do it, or they do something we don't think they should do. That judgmental spirit comes on us. But you must be careful so that your freedom does not cause others with a weaker conscience to stumble. You must be careful. For if others see you with your superior knowledge eating in the temple of an idol, won't they be encouraged to violate their conscience by eating food that has been offered to an idol? So, what's one of the biggest tragedies we have in America today, or America, in the world today? Alcoholism. Alcoholism. So you're ministering to somebody, you're trying to help somebody, and then you go out to eat and they see you over there drinking and they think, well, okay, they could do it, okay. I'm just using one example. You're ministering to somebody and trying to help them save their marriage, and they see you out and you're flirting with somebody. I mean, there's so many different ways this can be applied, but open your heart and let God apply it to what is in your heart right now today. So because of your superior knowledge, a weak believer for whom Christ died will be destroyed. Oh, Lord, help us. Let that not be me, Lord. And when you sin against other believers by encouraging them to do something they believe is wrong, you are sinning against Christ. So if what I eat causes another believer to sin, I will never eat meat again for as long as I live, says the Apostle Paul. For I don't want to cause another believer to stumble. What an opportunity for us to check in our spirit. Oh Lord, search my heart. See if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me on the path of righteousness, so that I can be a light to the world, that I'm never a stumbling block. He'll help you. He'll help you. He helps me. I have to regularly check myself, and I regularly get corrected. Psalms 33, verse 4, for the word of the Lord holds true, and we can trust everything he does. He loves whatever is just and good. The unfailing love of the Lord fills the earth. Verse 6, the Lord merely spoke, and the heavens were created. He breathed the word, and all the stars were born. How can you sit through a thunderstorm and not know there's a God? Oh, we had a powerful one last night. Verse 10, the Lord frustrates the plans of the nations. Ooh, here's our word for today, August the 13th of 2020, with all the fake news, with all of the bias going on out there, all of the fighting in the politics, all of the conundrums over, do I wear a mask, do I not? Do we open schools, do we not? We don't have to get caught up in all that. We release it back to God, because God frustrates the plans of the nations and thwarts their schemes. But the Lord's plans stand firm forever. His intentions can never be shaken. Yeah, we don't have to get caught up in all the chaos, guys. And I've been guilty. Just a couple of week ago, whatever it was, I repented and said, oh Lord, forgive me that I got drug into that conversation. I've been guilty. I've been distracted. What did we read about the diversions and then the distractions, and then comes the real danger? Careful, 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 letting down our guard. We read about how important it was. In today's reading in the Old Testament, after the wall was built, what was the very first thing Nehemiah did? He placed the gatekeepers and the guards. That's symbolic to our heart and what we let in. Careful what all we listen to. Careful what we listen to. Proverbs 21, verse 10. Evil people desire evil. Boy, I'll tell you what, I could talk about this for the next 30 minutes. Evil people desire evil. Hurting people hurt people. If somebody is mad and determined to be mad, they're just going to be mad. There's nothing you can do about it. Evil desires evil. There are some people walking around with a chip on their shoulder that no matter what you say, they're just going to be angry. Stop trying to fix them. Pray for them instead. Pray for them instead. Evil people desire evil. If they're looking to be offended, they'll be offended. Leave them alone. Release them. Pray for them. Evil people desire evil. Their neighbors get no mercy from them. Boy, powerful words, great words to live by. Great words to live by. Thankful Thursday. It's Thankful Thursday. Don't forget to take time to tell God what all you're thankful for today. I've got so many blessings to be thankful for. Thank you for all of you guys that came on today. Talk to you soon.